Hi, I'm Steven, 32, and last week I got seated next to a trash can at my sister's engagement party, on purpose. I didn't plan to go. The invite was late, the text was curt, and the seating chart she sent didn't have my name on it. Just a thumbs up emoji and a heart, like a glitch in a system where love and sarcasm are interchangeable. But I went anyway. Because I always go. To birthday dinners, housewarmings, last-minute moves, fence repairs, and moments when someone needs a brother who knows the difference between a Phillips and a flathead. Kelsey's party was at a venue so polished it had valet parking and a signature cocktail menu with drink names like the Forever 75. I showed up in a clean pair of jeans and a collared work shirt, hands scrubbed raw from the pumice soap in my truck. I brought the cash envelope she asked for. Not a gift, she said. An investment in the night. The hostess's face twitched when she found my name on her tablet. Oh, she said, then nodded toward the back. Your seats, over there. Past the bar. Past the bathroom. Past the polished smiles and Instagram-ready candle centerpieces. A single fold-out chair beside a swinging-lid trash can. The kind of seat that says, "We didn't forget you. We just don't care where you end up." Kelsey caught my eye from the long white tablecloth rectangle of the main table and smiled like this was normal. "Hey, Steven," she said, walking over with a hug that didn't touch skin. "Thanks for coming. Hope you're not too tired from the job site." I held up the envelope. "For you." She plucked it from my hand like a server might take an empty glass. Then she said, "Sorry, this table's for family only," and pointed toward my fold-out. I looked. I looked long enough for her to add, "We thought you might want somewhere quiet, you know. Chill. You're always saying you like being out of the way." Everyone at her table laughed. Not hard. Just enough to be heard. And then I sat. A few courses in, a slice of cake finally reached me. The waiter passed it like he was sneaking me contraband. He held the bill folder in his hand like a bomb and said, "They said you'd be handling this." I smiled, cool and even. "Not my table," I said. And that was the moment. The click. The sentence that changed everything. After I said it, "Not my table," you could feel the party shift. Not dramatically, just like someone dimmed the lights by one click too far. The waiter blinked, looked over at the head table, then back at me. Kelsey's wineglass paused midair. Ethan's smile cracked like old paint. Nobody laughed this time. The waiter lowered the bill folder slowly, like I was a raccoon he didn't want to spook. "So, you're not paying?" "I didn't eat at that table," I said. "Didn't get a toast. Didn't even get a bread plate. I tapped my own paper-wrapped fork like a gavel. I'm good here." He hesitated, then nodded, almost grateful, and walked away, to someone else's problem. I saw him deliver the folder to Ethan, who made a show of looking surprised. Then annoyed. Then magnanimous, as he reached for his wallet with exaggerated slowness. From the trash can side of the venue, I had the best view of the unravel. Mom's expression shifted first, concern wrapped in control. Her lips thinned. Dad leaned over to whisper something in her ear. Aunt Linda glanced at me, then immediately looked away like she'd made eye contact with a protest sign she wasn't ready to read. Kelsey, though, she froze. Not in a scared way. More in a "how dare you ruin my narrative" kind of way. The look she gave me wasn't hurt. It was confused. Like the vending machine finally refused to take her dollar. She rose, her heels clacking on the polished floor as she made her way toward me. I didn't stand. "Steven," she said, tight smile. "Can we talk outside?" "No," I said. "I'm finishing my cake." "Seriously?" She lowered her voice. "You're embarrassing yourself. I'm not the one who seated family next to a trash bin." "Oh, come on," she hissed. "You're being sensitive. It's a joke. Like a rustic chic thing. People thought it was funny." I held up the napkin-wrapped cake. "This was funny. You're making this about you, again. Did you use my old card for the deposit?" I asked. That shut her up. Her eyes flared for half a second, just long enough for me to know I was right. I cancelled that 3 months ago, I added. But nice try. Her jaw tensed. She looked around to see if anyone had heard, then leaned in close. If you ruined this for me, you did that yourself. She made a sound that wasn't quite a laugh, more of a high-pitched scoff, and turned on her heel, stomping back like she'd won something. A server side-eyed her as she passed. The trash can lid swayed quietly behind me. A few minutes later, someone else arrived. Ethan. No jacket, sleeves rolled like he was ready to talk sense. Look, man, he said. I think this got a little out of hand. Kelsey's emotional, you know? It's a big day. I said nothing. She wanted you here. She did. But you gotta admit, you've always kind of stood apart. Yeah, I said. By the trash. He laughed, thought I was joining the joke. You're a solid dude. Everyone knows that. Like salt of the earth. That's why we figured you'd cover the difference. What difference? The venue. The cake upgrade. The corkage fee. You mean the party? Yeah. But it's like family. You know? I nodded slowly. Let me be clear, Ethan. He perked up, hopeful. I don't pay cover charges for rooms I'm not allowed in. Then I stood, slid my napkin onto the plate, and walked out. The chair wobbled behind me, like it knew it had lost something solid. The text started before I even reached my truck. First, Mom. Stephen, you're upsetting your sister. This is not the time. Then Kelsey. You made a scene. You embarrassed me in front of Ethan's entire family. Then Dad, who never texts but must have gotten roped in. Not the place, not the time. Call me. I didn't respond. I sat in the cab of my truck with the door open, keys in my lap, and stared at the venue through the windshield. I could still see Ethan inside, explaining something animatedly to the manager while waving his arms like a guy doing bad charades. The waiter from earlier looked directly at me through the window. Gave me a little nod. Back home, I tossed my wallet, boots, and hat on the counter and cracked a beer. I thought it would help. It didn't. My hands were still tight. So I opened my laptop. And I pulled up the spreadsheet. Every little withdrawal, every Venmo that never got reversed, every. Just until Friday. That somehow stretched into the next month. I stared at the list like it was blueprints for a house I hadn't realized I'd built. One where everyone else lived rent-free. It was all there. $2,500 for Mom's SUV down payment. $780 for Kelsey's emergency dental work. $350 for her first month of city parking. $1,900 Ethan had called a bridge loan for crypto, an investment I never saw a penny from. $160 here, $120 there, 100 small cuts that added up to something deep. There was a note in the margin I'd written months ago and forgotten about. Start acting like a bank or stop handing out loans. The next day, I called my bank. Turns out, Kelsey had indeed used that cancelled card for the venue. The charge went through because my parents co-signed it years ago when they were trying to build her credit. The manager had called her when the card declined, and she told him I'd handle it. Because I always did. That's when I filed the fraud report. And something in me didn't even hesitate. 2 days later, I got a call from the credit card company's fraud department. They asked about the charge. I said, wasn't mine. Didn't authorize it. I haven't used that card in months. Did anyone else have access? My sister, I said. But she didn't have permission. There was a pause. The kind where you can hear someone typing. Would you be willing to confirm that in writing? Yes, I said, gladly. Later that afternoon, the same fraud department called Kelsey. And in a miracle I couldn't have scripted better, the rep put her on speaker, while I sat across the desk with a notepad. Hi Kelsey, this is Sandra from Card Services. I'm following up on a charge to venue name. You're listed as the point of contact. Oh yeah, she said. It was a mistake. But my brother's covering it. Unfortunately, your brother has filed a fraud report. Silence. He what? You stated he would be paying, but he's disputed the charge and confirmed he did not authorize it. Can you hold? She never came back from hold. Sandra looked at me, raised an eyebrow. Would you like us to proceed with the dispute? I would, I said. And please add that card to my blacklist. By dinner, the charge was reversed. The venue called Kelsey. She called Mom. Mom called me 6 times. I didn't pick up. That night, Kelsey posted a story on Instagram. Can't trust anyone. Blood isn't thicker than ego. The picture? A blurry candlelit table. No people. No captions. Just drama. I screenshotted it. Filed it in a new folder. Labeled, Receipts. The voicemail from Mom came in at 6:14 a.m. She must have woken up stewing in it. Her voice was tight with that familiar disappointment, the kind she used to reserve for low report card grades and forgotten birthdays. Stephen. This is not okay. You called the fraud department? You're acting like a stranger, not family. You're jeopardizing your sister's credit over a misunderstanding. Please call me back before you embarrass all of us further. I didn't call her back. Instead, I went to work early. We were pouring a garage slab for a guy who ran a dog rescue out of his barn. The job wasn't hard, but the ground was uneven, and one of the guys called out, so I spent most of the morning in a wheelbarrow rhythm. Load, pour, smooth. Repeat. Around noon, my foreman waved me over. He held out his phone. Your sister just called the office. Wanted to confirm your emergency. My what? He shrugged. Said you were out for family reasons? Told her I hadn't heard anything. I laughed. Not because it was funny. Because of course she tried to go around me. That afternoon, I got an email from the venue. A balance reminder. The same charge Kelsey had tried to pin on me. Only this time, the contact name had changed. Ethan. 2 hours later, my phone rang. Ethan. I answered. You couldn't just handle it? He said, skipping hello. You had to nuke the whole thing over a chair? A chair, a charge, a credit card I cancelled. I said. Pick one. You don't understand what this does to our plans. Your plans, I corrected. There was a pause. Then he said it, like it was the trump card. My dad thinks you're unstable. He said if this is how you act under pressure, maybe you shouldn't be at the wedding. I wasn't planning to be. Silence. Like I'd taken a bat to his kneecaps. What? You heard me. You're seriously skipping your only sister's wedding? She already skipped inviting her only brother. You'll regret this. No, I said, steady as cured concrete. But you might. I hung up. That night, I updated my spreadsheet. Added a new tab. Labeled it, Post-Party Fallout. The entries were short but satisfying. Called venue, charge reversed. Blocked Mom's number. Unlinked joint streaming accounts. Changed Netflix password. Not my table 2025. The next morning, I got an envelope in the mail. No return address. Inside? A printout of the $4,800 venue charge. A blurry photo of me at the party, still seated next to the trash can, and a sticky note that read, You did this. Fix it. Kelsey's handwriting. No doubt. I took a picture of the note. Filed it in the folder with the Instagram story. Then I placed the original in the junk drawer under spare screws, old keys, and expired coupons. Right where it belonged. By day 5, the silence had officially shattered. They tried everything: rage, guilt, denial, strategy. Like watching people paddle a sinking boat with silver spoons. A new group chat popped up: family intervention. Always a bad sign when the word intervention shows up before brunch. The opening message? Aunt Linda. Let's reset expectations. We're all on the same team. Mom followed up in record time. Your sister's card was declined at her dress fitting because of the venue hold. She's hysterical. Fix this. Fix. Not help. Not explain. Fix. I made coffee like I was clocking in for a job I no longer worked. I read each message like it was a safety manual for equipment I already knew how to use. Then I turned my phone over and ate eggs. At 9:07 a.m., Kelsey showed up at my duplex. With Ethan. They didn't knock. Just rattled the door handle like it owed them something. I opened it because I knew if I didn't, they'd just call my landlord. You're unbelievable, Kelsey said, sweeping in like a storm with a purse. Do you have any idea what you've done? Set a boundary, I said, not moving from the doorway. Ethan hung back like he was afraid of drywall. Bro, no hard feelings about the party seating. That was just a bit. Kelsey's idea. Thanks, Ethan, she snapped, then turned back to me. The venue charged my card after all. It overdraft. I have a blocked account now. Do you understand overdrafts? I do, I said. Banks charge fees when you spend money you don't have. Kelsey's jaw twitched like she'd bitten a lemon. You've always been jealous, she hissed. That made me laugh. Of what? She waved at herself. This. My life. The ring. The people who like me. Of not having to live covered in dust. I looked down at my calloused hands, the faint concrete burns on my knuckles, the strength in them. I like my life. Ethan stepped in like a guy volunteering for a firing squad. We just need you to front the difference until the wedding gifts clear. It's like a short-term float. There are no wedding gifts, I said. This was your engagement party. Not a fundraiser. He blinked like I'd spoken in Morse code. Semantics. Kelsey leaned in close, too close. Mom and Dad said you do the right thing. Don't make them choose. They already chose. I said calm. They sat at your table while I ate by the trash. She pulled a card from her purse and slapped it on the counter. My card. The cancelled one. Found in Mom's junk drawer. Happy? She snapped. Was that part of your spreadsheet too? I picked it up, turned it slowly in my fingers. You know it was cancelled, right? She threw her hands up. You can't kick me out of your own brother's house. I can, I said, stepping aside and opening the door. And I am. Ethan tried for a parting shot. We'll tell everyone you refused to help your own sister with a basic family expense. You already did, I said, voice even. They left. The hallway smelled like her perfume for hours after. At noon, my boss pulled me aside. Your mom called the office, he said. Said there was a family emergency. Wanted an advance for you. I stared at him. She what? I told her we don't do that. For anyone. Then he looked at me. You want the afternoon off? No, I said. I want to pour. We did a walkway for a retired teacher who brought us lemonade and told me her late husband used to lay tile. She watched me trowel the edges and said, You're respectful. Like it surprised her. I shrugged. It's not hard. And for the first time in a long time, I meant it. By day 6, the narrative flipped. Not loudly. Not all at once. But like a slow crack spreading across drywall. It started quiet, then showed up everywhere. I got a call from Cousin Mark, the one who'd always played middle ground in family drama. Former golden boy turned semi-disgraced crypto evangelist. Now works at a coffee shop and pretends it's freelance consulting. Hey man, he said when I answered. Just wanted to say, I heard there was drama. For what it's worth, people are saying you tried to stiff the staff. I waited. Just long enough for him to feel the air. I told them that didn't sound like you. He added. Thanks, I said. It was the staff who treated me like a person. He went quiet. Then, I left early. It felt gross. A few hours later, I got a DM from a cousin I hadn't spoken to since high school. Photo attached. Blurry, candid, obviously zoomed. It was me. In the background by the trash can. Eating cake. Kelsey was in the foreground, mid-laugh, pointing at me. Didn't feel right posting it. The cousin wrote. But I wanted you to see what she did. I didn't respond, but I saved it. New folder perspective. That afternoon, I started getting whispers. Ethan's dad had covered half the bill with a face so tight it could vacuum seal leftovers. The bridesmaids were quietly Venmoing each other to split the rest. My parents had maxed the card they'd been saving for an anniversary trip to Italy. Nobody was mad at me anymore. They were mad at the mirror. Kelsey tried spinning it online, posting inspirational quotes about boundaries and choosing peace, while wearing luxury skincare and tagging the brands. But that only made things worse. The real-world version of her started cracking. The wedding was now a stressor, not a celebration. Vendors were backing out due to late payments. A florist emailed me by accident, thinking I was the point of contact. The subject line: deposit overdue. Please advise. I didn't. I kept my head down and got to work. Changed passwords, killed the last shared phone plan that had included Mom. Just because she doesn't like new carriers. Within 10 minutes. Kelsey, what did you do to my Spotify? Mom, my phone stopped working. Dad, wow. Petty. I put my phone on Do Not Disturb and slept like a man who'd poured a perfect slab, level, sealed, solid. By day 7, the group chat split in half. Then thirds. Aunt Linda texted. I don't agree with how they treated you. That one I responded to. Just one word. Noted. That was enough. Because by now, they all knew what mattered. It wasn't who sat where. It was who paid for the table. The voicemail came late. Mom again. Her voice, that tight, brittle version of love she'd used all my life, right before asking for something. I hope you're happy, she said. Your sister is heartbroken. When you need us, don't expect us to show up. I saved it. Named the file, Policy. The next morning, someone pounded on my door at 7:12 a.m. The kind of knock that says we know you're in there. I didn't answer. An hour later, I bought a new deadbolt at the hardware store. Installed it myself. Oiled the hinges, cleaned the strike plate. Didn't rush. No one was timing me anymore. That silence? It didn't feel cold. It felt clean. In the quiet, other things grew. I said yes to a weekend side job, small gig for a woman whose last contractor ghosted halfway through. She needed a load-bearing wall opened up between her kitchen and dining room. I don't even care if it takes longer, she said. I just want someone who respects the house. I finished the demo that day. Clean cuts, no mess. Called in a guy I trust to run the electrical, left the place broom clean. She paid me and tipped extra. Said I'd restored her faith in people. I said, I just show up. And for the first time, I realized how rare that is. Back home, I fixed the squeaky cabinet door that had annoyed me for years. No audience, no post. Just quiet satisfaction. 3 days later, Kelsey emailed me a spreadsheet. Subject line: since you're into numbers. Inside? A petty list of every perceived favor my family had ever done for me. Rent from when I was 19 and lived at home for 2 months. 3 dinners she'd covered, in 2015. Christmas gifts, itemized by price. A single handwritten note at the bottom. Mom carried you for 9 months. I read it. Twice. Then replied with one sentence. Thanks for the list. No reimbursements approved. She didn't write back. She posted a boomerang of champagne on Instagram with the caption, Blood isn't everything. I actually laughed. Out loud. By myself. Then I closed the app and didn't open it again for a week. Real life moved on. I took a vacation day, drove out to the lake with a thermos of coffee. Watched a guy teach his kid how to skip stones. I thought about building a deck out there someday, something solid. With wide steps. A little shade. Space to sit and not explain yourself. On Sunday, I got a text from Dad. No, hi. No, hope you're well. We're selling the house. We'll need your help moving. I replied. Hire movers. He responded. We can't afford that. So I asked, how much was the engagement party? No reply. That Monday, my foreman pulled me aside at lunch. You ever think about running a crew? He asked. There's a spot opening. You've got the calm people listen to. And the spine. I almost said I wasn't ready. Then I remembered that fold-out chair. That swinging trash lid. The sound of silverware skipping my plate. I said. 2 weeks after the party, I got a text from Mom. There's a leak upstairs. Can you come by? No pleasantries. No apology. Not even a please. Just a job order, like always. But this time, I wasn't the son. I was the contractor. I showed up with my tool bag and an invoice pad. Knocked. Mom opened the door, red-eyed, robe tied too tight. Oh, thank God, she said, stepping aside. I'll take a look, I said. My rate is on the invoice. She blinked, confused for a second. Then she got it. You're charging your mother? I'm charging a client, I said calmly. Family rates are for family. She swallowed hard and nodded like she just tasted something sour and wasn't sure if she was allowed to spit. Upstairs, the leak was exactly what I thought it would be: bad wax ring on the toilet flange. I replaced it in under 40 minutes. Left the bathroom cleaner than I found it. Downstairs, I handed her the invoice. She stared at it like it was written in Latin. Then she signed. Her hand shook, but she signed. As I packed up, Dad appeared in the doorway, leaning against it like he was posing for a cigarette ad from 1960. You think you're better than us now? He said, not looking at me. No, I said, slinging my bag over my shoulder. Just not worse. I drove home with a copy of the signed invoice riding shotgun. It felt like a receipt for my own oxygen. A month later, silence. No calls. No texts. No new group chats begging or baiting or trying to recruit me into guilt. I skipped the wedding. Not out of spite, out of peace. Because I'd finally learned what they hadn't. You don't have to attend every fire you're invited to. Instead, I stayed home, grilled a steak, and tightened the anchors on the pergola I was building for my backyard. My way. With my tools. On my schedule. That night, the venue tried to call again. I blocked the number. Then I opened my spreadsheet, scrolled all the way down, and added the final line. Boundary, $0 paid. Value, everything. The next morning, I woke up early and poured footings for a local animal shelter expansion. The foreman let me pick the playlist. The sun came up slow and soft. No one called me by accident. No one needed a loan. And when I got home, there were no new voicemails, no scribbled notes under my door, no staged family photos with captions about forgiveness. Just quiet. And the sound of my own life, finally leveled, finally solid. Not my table. And that's a good thing.